It is August 20th, and we still do not have resolution between Brandon Aiyuk and the San Francisco 49ers and what they're going to do with him. And it's actually kind of funny to watch. You even have now NFL insiders like Adam Schefter getting a little impatient as well. It's not just the fans. It's just not, other guys and reporters across the league. You got some of your top NFL newsbreakers starting to get impatient about this situation, and rightfully so. There's not many more options that can be exhausted at this point. Everything has been looked at or discussed, and it's up to the 49ers and Brandon Aiyuk to make a decision on what is going to happen. So as Adam Schefter joins the Pat McAfee show this morning to give his latest updates on the Brandon Aiyuk situation, he does a good job of capturing, I think, the feeling of most people around this particular topic. Take a listen to what Adam Schefter has to say on the latest on Brandon Aiyuk.
Schefty, obviously, it seems like every time you're on, obviously, we're talking about Brandon Aiyuk out in San Francisco. You may be fielding some texts about Aiyuk right now. Is there what's the latest developments with him, and where do you see this thing ending up?
Well, they were off yesterday, so there was no practice in the building. No players were not there. Today they go back, and we are now under 3 weeks away from the regular season opener to where the 49ers are hosting the New York Jets. Now, the 49ers know that they need Brandon Aiyuk out there. He's made a lot of plays for them over time. He has had a great run, and they want to get the deal done. They've made him multiple offers to try to keep him. But for whatever reason, that deal hasn't gotten done, and that has allowed other teams to enter the fray with trade conversations. And so I think we're at the point now where we're going to start to get a push here to see how this winds up, how it's resolved. And I think the 49ers would like to keep him, want to keep him. I still think that's the more likely scenario, but to think that there's any likely scenario in this particular situation would be a mistake, because there was a time when I thought, okay, it sounds like he's going to be traded to Cleveland. And then there was a time where I thought, well, it sounds like he's going to be traded to New England. And then there was a time I thought, okay, he's going to be traded to Pittsburgh. And then I thought there was a time he's re-signing with San Francisco. And here we are on,
20th.
Tuesday, August 20th, and nothing is still done. Nothing. And I just think that everybody is at the point where they know they need to get resolution, whatever that is. I just think we're entering here a important time for Brandon Aiyuk, where I think at some point this week there'll be activity here, and we'll see what that leads to.
Okay, some sort of activity. I like that, because there's been a lot of activity, and then there was some fugazi activity seemingly from it all. And you just said that, you feel like the most likely at this particular point is for him to go back to the Niners. Is it as, I don't want to say volatile, because that seemingly has a negative connotation. Is it as random of an outcome right now as it has been over the last couple of weeks on what the hell happens here?
I think it is, Pat. Like I said to you, I said I said to you today that I think that that's the most likely outcome. But I'm just telling you, at various points, I would have thought the most likely outcome would have been him being traded to Cleveland or to Pittsburgh or New England.
Wow.
And so the most likely outcomes shift on an almost daily basis. How this unfolds in the end, we're all waiting to see. Again, today, the outcome that makes sense, whatever that means, is going back to San Francisco. But there's a lot of things that don't make sense here, so it's hard to predict exactly how it's going to go. Here's what we do know. I think he would like to be in San Francisco. We know he wants to be paid.
Okay.
And we know the 49ers want to keep him. So if all that is there,
come on a wedding day, there had to be a little.
All the elements are there. It shouldn't be that hard. It shouldn't be that hard to get to the point where you figure out what it's going to take to get it across the finish line, get the guy under contract. Here you see the top-paid wide receivers heading into the season, the average annual salary. It's not hard to slot him in here, right? Like, I would think somewhere between Devontae Adams and Tyreek Hill, right in that range. 30, 28, 29, whatever that number is, it's going to be right in there. And get the deal done, wherever it is. Re-sign in San Francisco or agree to move on. But we're under 3 weeks, and it's time to figure it out because you got to practice, and I don't think you want to step onto the practice field without a new contract.
Yeah, and wide receiver and quarterback relationships are obviously a massive ordeal, and the sooner we see him back on a football field, we'll all be happy because we think he's a dog as a player, and there's a lot of fan bases that want him. If he goes back to San Fran, signs a deal, the locker room will be very pumped to have him back. Fans will be pumped to have him back. If he signs somewhere else, fans will be pumped to have him. It's a win-win, but let's get to it, is what Schefter is seemingly saying. We agree on a lot of these things. What separates us is much smaller than what brings us together here, team.
Sure.
Can we put our swords aside for just a matter of moments? You want to be here, we want you here. You want money, we want to give you money. Let's figure this whole thing out. We'll be able to.
Not hard.
And I really haven't heard Adam Schefter ever urge a team to make a decision. Again, being doing what I do, I tend to see a lot of what Adam Schefter puts out just because we obviously know he's tapped in. He's one of the top NFL newsbreakers. And so he's always going to be a source of interest when the 49ers are involved. So he clearly has talked about the evolution of this process, thinking that he was going to get traded to multiple different teams at one point to then, okay, the San Francisco 49ers and Brandon Aiyuk, they must be ready to come together on a deal. Okay, well, maybe not. Now here we are, August 20th, it's about noon Pacific Standard Time, and we have no updates. And it's been that way for about over a week. So as it continues to progress, we are getting to a point where it's crap or get off the pot. Like we have I do believe that there's a decision that needs to be made, just like Adam Schefter's alluding to. I mean, you have a couple weeks left to be able to get Brandon Aiyuk integrated back into the offense, get him back into football shape, making sure that he is at least ready to hit the ground running when week one happens. You don't want to pay a guy $30 million and then have him be rusty for the first quarter of the season. That sounds like an absolutely misjudgment from a on-field standpoint. So don't want to see that. You want to see them be able to come to terms and get him into camp, get him into practice so that they can start preparations for getting ready for the season, right? So this is just a crazy situation. The way it's just ongoing and feels like it's never ending is something that feels like we're all in the same boat. Just make a choice. Decide what you're going to do. There's nothing else to really look into. The contract is the contract. The trades are the trades. Accept the trade. Don't accept the trade. Accept the contract. Don't accept the contract. Brandon Aiyuk is not playing on the fifth-year option. I don't know why people have convinced themselves that that's even an option. If there's anything that we've been able to discern from this entire situation is Brandon Aiyuk is not playing on the fifth-year option. So I don't know why we're here August 20th talking about just make him play on the fifth-year option. It's crystal clear that isn't going to be an option. So we can table that, and we can understand that there's two options: trade them, sign them, pick one. And that's where we are currently at. Where are you currently at with this whole situation that is seemingly never ending? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more updates.